Universal compulsory education, as we now know it, did not exist anywhere in medieval Europe. Education was for the few, almost always the male, and, overwhelmingly, those destined for a life of ecclesiastical service. For centuries, the monastery was the center of learning, and only gradually came to include in its number students from the neighboring community. Latin was the language that all educated people shared, and the language in which the literate world's relatively few books had been painstakingly transcribed. Education became more widespread as feudal lords began to retain tutors for their own children and children under their protection. As the popularity of monasticism began to wane, patrons chose instead to channel their wealth towards, among other things, the endowing of schools. Great universities, such as those in Paris, Bologna, and, by the mid-13th century, Oxford, also boasted a steadily increasing student body. However, the astounding overall rate of illiteracy did not begin markedly to decrease until, in the mid-1400s, Johann Gutenberg introduced what remains one of the greatest inventions of Western civilization, the movable type printing press. Not surprisingly, those in power feared and reviled the invention for the threat it presented to their potency. But this new wave of learning went hand in hand with the rise of an economically viable middle class, and the people refused to be kept in ignorance. Nonetheless, even after the emergence of colloquial tongues as the popular means of written communication, Latin long remained the international language of the elite, which included scholars, scientists, and courts of law.